Hi, thank you for watching this episode of Insight Money. Today we'll be talking about Saudi Arabia's revolutionary new giga-project called The Line. On January 10, 2021, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman announced their unprecedented new project named The Line. The idea of The Line is to create an entire city that's stacked 500 meters high whilst being a staggering 170 kilometers long. That's taller than the Empire State Building, whilst also being long enough that it'll take the average human 40 hours to walk from one end to the other. The line will be housed entirely in mirrored glass and will only be 200 meters or 220 yards wide. This means that the monolithic city will only have a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. This is game-changing, as this means that the linear city will allow for 95% of the land to be preserved for nature. The line is planned to accommodate 9 million people, and Saudi Arabia projects the city to have a population of 1.5 million inhabitants by the end of the decade. This means that the line will have a population density of 260,000 people per square kilometer, which will be the most densely populated city in the world. For reference, the most densely populated city in the world currently is Manila, with a density of 44,000 people per square kilometer. So as you can see, the line will be revolutionary when it comes to sorting out the upcoming population issues. This is possible as the line is segmented and organized into 3 dimensions, which allow for such a highly dense population, whilst also meaning that any facilities required by the line's population, which includes work, home, school, as well as gyms and shopping, will be accessible within a 5-minute walk. AI technology is being used to automate the services required, allowing any services to be run autonomously without human interaction. This artificial intelligence will monitor the entire city and utilize predictive data models to optimize the daily life of the line's citizens. These citizens will also be paid for any data that's submitted to the line. This will further allow for the line to be traveled from one side of the Red Sea across the desert to the Saudi Arabia mountainous region in a mind-numbing 20-minute journey. So how will this be done? Well, the line will have an integrated high-speed rail that'll carry people from end to end, meaning that there will be no cars or roads, which means that the city will have 0 carbon emissions. As well as this city will have 100% renewable energy and renewable water supplies, which means that the megalith will have all industries producing 0 emissions. Saudi Arabia is so confident that they've even created a model of what New York City would look like if it also adapted the idea of the line and its technology. The line will also implement nature into its design by creating microclimatic spaces that ensure that there's an optimal level of sunlight, shade, and natural ventilation by using a vertical garden city structure. These implementations of nature and gardens mean that the line will always have purified air, which means that there's clean air for all inhabitants. So how much is this expected to cost? Well, the average estimate is the line will cost 400 to 700 billion Saudi Arabian rial, which is equivalent to 100 to 200 billion US dollars. However, this is just the average estimate. Some are predicting that when finished, the line will cost up to 1 trillion US dollars. Though it's been estimated that the line will also create 380,000 jobs, spur economic diversification, and contribute 48 billion US dollars to Saudi Arabia's GDP by 2030. So it'd be normal to assume that a giga-project like this is simply just an idea set forward by Saudi Arabia, and not something that'll be created. However, you'd be mistaken, as there's evidence that construction for the linear city has begun through drone footage captured in October 2022. In the drone footage, there are hundreds of excavators digging up the large 200-meter trench in the blistering desert. In this trench, some foundations are just beginning to be laid for the 170-kilometer-long megastructure. So you may be asking, how could this massive structure be built if it stretches for over 100 miles? Well, the Saudi Arabians plan to use an underground transport system under the structure to transport the building materials required for the creation of the line. This, however, has not been shown in the recent drone footage, indicating that this is also a project that's currently just an idea. So, we've heard about how this city would be a marvel and a progressive step for the future when it comes to a more environmentally friendly way of living. But what are the downsides of this project? Well, Philip Oldfield from the University of New South Wales has claimed that the creation of the city would have a carbon footprint of 1.8 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent in the glass, steel, and concrete used. As he states, you cannot build a 500-meter tall building out of low-carbon materials. For reference, this amount of CO2 is equivalent to the average car driving 4.14 times 10 to the power of 13 miles. That is 414 with 13 zeros after it. As well as this, there's another issue put forward by Philip Oldfield about the creation of the line, which is the fact that the line would create a large-scale barrier to adjacent ecosystems and migratory species, like those created by highways, and that the mirrored external facade would be dangerous for bird species. In addition to these issues, the city has been characterized as a surveillance city by digital rights researchers, and due to Saudi Arabia's poor human rights record, this could imply that there may be a potential abuse of the line's population data. Although in response to this, Joseph Bradley said that the coordinators of the line are resolving privacy issues and that Saudi Arabia has a personal data protection law. And there's the issue of the fact that this will be an estimated $500 billion investment. This money could instead be used for other projects that could have a hugely positive impact, such as ending world hunger by 2030, which would cost an estimated $330 billion, according to a study backed by the German government. Or this money could have been used to protect the Amazon rainforest for the next 161 years. It's believed, however, that Saudi Arabia's greatest technical challenge will be the huge reliance on foreign skilled workers required for this project. This is an issue that likely will not be faced by the 2030 mark, making many believe that the giga-project will not be finished until 2050, which would increase the cost of the project significantly to an estimated $1 trillion. So what do you think of this future metropolis? You think this will be the future of all cities? Or do you think that this design is a dystopian nightmare and won't even be created? Thank you for watching, and if you did like this episode of Insight Money, feel free to stick around and prepare yourself for more interesting episodes in the future centered around educational content on business, finance, and technology. Anyway, thanks again for watching. This has been Insight Money. We'll see you again soon.